All right. So yesterday we had a great program on the imperfections of Bhagwan, and we all discussed, dear devotees, how many imperfections are there in Bhagwan? 18, but two are not present. So how many remain, dear devotees? 16. So there are 16 imperfections in Bhagwan. And how many of us would like to fall in love with a Bhagwan who is all perfect, never speaks any lies, never makes any mistakes? Please raise your hand. No, dear devotees. So Sri Rupa Goswami changed our mind. And please raise your hands. How many of us would like to fall in love with a Bhagwan who makes mistakes, constantly tries falsely, and is crooked in behavior? Please raise your hand. Wonderful, devotee. So you've already made your choice, dear devotees, and that was the wonderful topic discussed yesterday. And today we are continuing to discuss Sri Rupa Goswami's joyous poetry, but it is Shishta Parampara, tradition established by the previous great acharyas, that in order to establish auspiciousness, Mangal, there should be some auspicious behavior, Mangal Acharan. So we engage in auspicious behavior, Mangal Acharan, by singing some auspicious verses. Once again, I'm very thankful to the entire management of ISKCON of Farmington Hills. Sam Kishore Prabhu, thank you so much. Yugal Kishore Prabhu, although he's not present here, but here thanks to Yugal Kishore Prabhu. Kadam Kanal Prabhu, and Hemangana Gopika Mataji, thank you so much for kindly hosting me at your place. And myself and my wife. Thank you, all of you wonderful devotees. My dear friend, Mother Prabhu is also here. For kindly being here, devotees. And all the wonderful devotees who came from all the way from Canada. Hmm? Very, very well. It is Vaishnav etiquette to give thanks to the audience because no program can begin without giving thanks to the most important set of individuals for the program. And who are the devotees? Physical audience. Audience. So now you are convinced. Okay, dear devotees, I'm very happy that all of you are present here today as the audience. Without all of you, there is no meaning to the program. Thank you for being here, dear devotees. Rasika Prabhu Prabhu organized all the programs here this time. I'm very, very thankful, dear devotees. We'll begin with Mangalacharan, auspicious invocations. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Adhyana Timirandhasya Dhyana Lakshaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Swayam Rupa Tathamayam Tathapi Swatantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Padanamayam Vamsagajatam Sarvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Namo Krishna Krishaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanaya Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachari Devi Shekha Namo Panchakalpatarubhyasya Kripasintuभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री Prabhupada ki devotees, I'm very happy once again to be in the presence of all of you. I'd like to begin with a quote by His Divine Grace, by Charanarjuna Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says something in his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22.153. So, equal to, okay. So, Halder Sundar Prabhu, please read what the Prabhupada says in the purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Unless one follows the six Goswamis, Sri Rup, Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatt, Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatt, Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatt, and Raghunath Das, one cannot be a bona fide spontaneous lover.
Dear devotees, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Srila Prabhupada is speaking, we'll have to follow the six Goswamis. It's very important that those of us who are part of Mahaprabhu's family will have to follow the six Goswamis in order to understand the science of spontaneous devotion. And spontaneous devotion has a technical name, dear devotees. What is the technical name of spontaneous bhakti? Again, one cannot become a spontaneous devotee of that caliber unless one follows the six Goswamis. Vaidhi Bhakti is also based on the teachings of the six Goswamis. So Vaidhi Bhakti also is dependent on the teachings of the six Goswamis. But Vaidhi Bhakti is that which is dictated exclusively by Shastra and in which one does not have any natural, innate, organic attachment towards Bhagwan. That is Vaidhi Bhakti. And we may try to pretend that I love Krishna, but Bhagwan sees through all the pretense. Devotees. So that raga, that genuine attachment is only possible if we get it from an existing devotee who has that raga. Raga is not something that can be produced materially by movement of the material senses. Raga is something which you get from an existing source of raga. So, dear devotees, it is very important that the process is a living process. And a living process means it is transferred from the heart of one particular devotee to the heart of another devotee. So that we should never forget. And there is no mass manufacturing of raga. Is right always. You can mass manufacture vidhi. You can tell 10,000 people to follow vidhi. But you cannot tell 10,000 people to open their hearts and love Krishna. Because it is very difficult for people to first and foremost understand who is Krishna and how to love him. Very well. Yesterday, I was specifying this, but I want to now begin a very important section of discussion from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada is specifying what is the point of time at which one can begin one's exploration and journey into Raganuga Bhakti. And this is, although many of us might have heard this, but there are many who might not have heard this. So I am specifying this for those of us who have not heard about it. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada specified when one can begin the aspiration to go into Raganuga Bhakti. They wrote it in 1932 at Radha Kund because he had organized Brajamandal Parikrama. There was a Brajamandal Parikrama organized, and all the devotees in the Gaudiya Math were present. And the devotees, one of the devotees present was also Srila Prabhupada. And it was in this particular parikrama that he noted he likes to hear. I hope you are. So that is because there are many devotees who just wanted to do a little bit of going here, touching this temple, going there, touching that temple. Prabhupada was, no, I don't see greater value in that. I see greater value in sitting and listening to some Harikatha. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was very impressed with the fact that he knows that in reality, greater amount of Krishna consciousness is attained by Harikatha rather than just touching places here and there. It's very important. And then Srila Prabhupada was initiated. But at the final leg of the parikrama was Radhakund. They all went to Radhakund. In Radhakund, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada started speaking about that which nobody had imagined. He started speaking about Ashta Kaliya Leela, which is some of the most esoteric pastimes. I would say the most esoteric part of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And people had least expected it from him. Because in previous years he would speak on Upanishads on at Radhakund. But this time he started speaking on Ashtakaliya Lila and books such as Govinda Lilamritam, Krishna Bhavanamritam, Bhavana Sarasara, Krishna Nita Kaupani. So those books he started speaking about. People got the biggest surprise of their life. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada noted people are little uncomfortable. We are not qualified. So it is the duty of the Acharya to instill faith in the people. Because if people keep thinking that you are forever disqualified, you will never be able to move ahead. So then the Acharya spoke. And what he spoke is in front of us. He said, all these days we have not spoken about Ashta Kaliya Leela. This is conjugal eightfold pastimes of Radha Krishna. But this is our most confidential asset and this is our only sadhya perfection. He said only sadhya. Very good. It's very important to understand. He said it is our only sadhya. And why did he say only sadhya? Because there are so many rasas, daksya, satya, vatsalya. But in yesterday's verse we saw from Sri Raghupati Upadhyaya, Adya Eva Paro Rasa. Actually, there is only one king of all the rasas, the devotees. And which rasa is that? And devotees, there are some who don't have heart for this. There are some who cannot have even a simple rasika heart for relationships. And Sri Rupa Goswami compares them to a camel. I showed that verse yesterday. And the camel only takes pleasure in chewing upon what the devotees earns. And when he chews upon thorns, some rasa comes out. Which rasa comes out? The devotees. And when blood comes out, he thinks this is rasa. And then, but that does not decrease the value of mangoes. Just because the camels don't eat mangoes doesn't decrease the value of mangoes. The cuckoos always feast upon mangoes. And therefore, dear devotees, they are expected not to be like camels. Because you can torture your body all day long and call it rasa. But real rasa is not by torturing your body. Real rasa is in understanding the positives. That is what the six Goswamis have given. Any other idea of bhakti will more or less end up with frustration. Devotees. Either we'll end up on the path of Dhyan or we'll end up on the path of karma, or some people will go away to Ashtanga Yoga and do their own thing. If we want to attain the final result, more important than hard work is proper attitude. Proper attitude, little effort with the proper direction is going to give the result. It is not such a difficult part. Pratyakshavagamam dharmam susukham kartumarvoya. Susukham, not kudukham kartumarvoya. Don't make the process like that. Dear devotees, kudukham kartumarvoya. We are making the process kudukham by not having the proper attitude. We should have the proper attitude in this regard. Dear devotees, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said, one should not make the mistake of thinking that anartha nivritti, overcoming impediments such as lust, etc., is the prayojan, goal of life. One thinking like this will never get into artha pravritti, acquiring one's actual will. For this reason, I will now begin speaking about Ashtakali Yoga. Dear devotees, amongst the associates of Mahaprabhu, there were people who were very renounced, like Sri Gadadhar Pandit, very renounced personalities. And then there were people who were full-fledged Grihasthas living a royal life, like Sri Pundari Vidyanidhi. And both were relishers of Ashtakali. One thing I will tell you, Sri Pundari Vidyanidhi is also very detached, but within the heart. Sri Gadadhar Pandit is also very detached, but not only within the heart, but also externally. And dear devotees, the detachment that matters is detachment within the heart. So, Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi was also wonderful lover of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, a Rasik devotee who had no presuppositions, false presuppositions about the path of Bhakti Rasa. And dear devotees, we should also understand that more important than anartha nivritti, getting rid of negatives, is artha pravritti, developing the positive. Otherwise, we'll get stuck in anartha nivritti, and with our false presuppositions, we will try to move ahead into the path, and those presuppositions will not take us in the proper direction. Therefore, he continued and said, I know that you are not ready to hear it. Acha. This is a very important statement. Whenever I have spoken this statement many times, people think that he is speaking that I know you are not renounced enough to hear it. That is not the meaning of the statement. The meaning of the statement is that I know you are not renounced enough to do. The meaning of the statement is I know that you do not have the proper mindset to hear it. We are able to understand. I know that you don't many of you don't have the proper mindset to hear it. Renunciation is such a small byproduct of positive cultivation. It need not have a separate mention here. There is no need of separately mentioning it here. I know you are not ready to hear it because many of you are sitting with presuppositions in your mind. But we should know that such a transcendental ideal exists where in the realm of devotion. Beyond the realm of anartha nivritti is artha pravritti, pure conjugal service to Radha. Finally, dear devotees, he says, this is transcendental reality. If we do not know of this transcendental realm, then all of our efforts may end in nirvisheshwa, impersonalism. What sort of impersonalism? Neti, neti, not this, not that. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, no, 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 neti, neti, neti. If everything is neti, neti, what is asti? What is asti? What is the positive that exists? And as the camel chew upon the thorns and keep doing neti neti throughout your life, maybe you will hope to attain some sort of bhakti rasa. There is one bhakti rasa attainable like this by neti neti. It is called bibhatsa, jugupsa, spitting on the material world. That is a good rasa for people who do neti. I hate the material world. It's a disgusting place. Body is filled with putrid substances. There are some individuals who take rasa like that, and they think that is advancement on the path of Krishna. Devotees, that is not advancement. Advancement is to have some positive information about Bhagavan Sri Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes, associates, abode, etc. Do not let your day pass in simply trying for an artha nivritti, he says. Artha pravritti is also necessary. Anartha nivritti is necessary only until artha pravritti has started. When artha pravritti is present, anartha nivritti becomes unimportant and artha pravritti becomes prominent. Dear devotees, please raise your hands. How many of us would like to have some artha pravritti in our lives? Oh, wonderful. We all would like to have that artha pravritti. But we should get rid of our presuppositions. Many of us have presuppositions that first artha pravritti has, anartha nivritti has to happen completely, and then only we can begin artha pravritti. That's a false presupposition, which is dismantled here by the speaking of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It is very important that we have the proper attitude. And then finally, he says, those who have chanted Harinam for 15 or 20 years should know such things. Now, dear devotees, please raise your hand. How many of us have been chanting Harinam for 10 or 15 years? Please raise your hand. And please don't be humble. I'm still trying to chant or something. Yes, how many of us have been putting our hands in the feedback for 10 or 15 years? That's the question. Yeah. So this 15 or 20 years is qualification for Ashtakali, right? Not for understanding the basics of Raganugama. For Ashtakaliya Leela, the qualification 15, 20 years. He puts a fixed qualification, number of years, because he knows people have improper attitudes and they will perpetually keep saying, I am unqualified. Let's say Haldar Sundar Prabhu comes to me and says, Prabhu, I wish to read something about Raganuga Bhakti. And I have, let's say I am the devotee guiding him and I have presuppositions in my mind. I say, Prabhu, right now, no. Come after 10 years. So he comes after 10 years. Prabhu, now can I read something? No, Prabhu, not right now. After 10 years. And he comes after 10 years. Prabhu, my body is failing, my hair have gone. Huh? Can I now at least read? No, you are not qualified. Come after 10 years. After 10 years, we get recycled in the material world. Okay, so there is nothing to achieve. So if that is how we are going to approach the subject matter, it is not going to work. So he sets a fixed time limit. How many years devotees? 15 years is for understanding the highest, Ashtakaliya. What to speak of understanding Raghava. After 6 years after Prabhupada established the movement, ISKCON, Prabhupada started saying we have to boil the milk. We are spreading too far, too wide, and we are diluting the whole movement by adding water. Don't cheat the customer. Add milk, not water. Please add milk, not water. It's a very serious request by Srila Prabhupada. Add milk, not water. Because you may add more and more milk to cheat the customer, but the customer gets that substandard quality of milk. You know, and you might have seen in Govardhan Parikrama, the milk, that it is a white colored water. That milk you don't want to give the customer. Right? So it's very important. Actually, traditionally, Govardhan Parikrama is to be, there's a tradition to do it with milk crops and pure milk, even if it is 1% milk. Also, isn't it? I hope you're able to understand. So, with that mindset, you start adding water, and that dilutes the whole process. Dear devotees, therefore, it's very important. Yesterday, I had spoken that Sri Raghupati Upadhyay was introduced to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Rupa Goswami said, this is a wonderful devotee. And dear devotees, I said one fine day, we all may also be introduced to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There will be a day when we will be in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will ask the same question that he asked Sri Raghupati Upadhyay. Can you please speak your highest realization about Krishna is the supreme personality of God? No, you have to speak something from your heart. You cannot copy somebody else. Right, dear devotees? That is the time for which we have to prepare. Will our speech give pleasure to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And that preparation begins here. Is like, dear devotees, Sri Raghupati Upadhyay was prepared. Of course, Sri Rupa Goswami will never introduce a person who is not prepared. So Sri Raghupati Upadhyay was prepared. And he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shyamamev param rupam puri madhuri vara vayah kaishora kamyeyam adya eva paro rasaha Shyamamev param rupam. Oh Mahaprabhu, I've seen so many forms in this world, but the most beautiful form is that of that wonderful Shyam who just on a full moon night came out of the waters of the Yamuna with the waters of the dark waters of the Yamuna dripping from his hair. He tied his hair, put a peacock feather on his head, sat down on the banks, and started playing on the fifth note of the flute in a very soft tone, his entire body glowing like the force of blue lotuses. I've never seen a form as beautiful as that. Shyamameva Paramrita, Puri Mat Puri Vara. And the best place to stay is Mathura Mandal, Rajamandal is the best place to stay. Vayah Kaishorakam. Gayam. The best age of Sri Krishna to meditate upon is Kishore, sweet 16, where he has fallen in love for the first time. is Sri Radha and Adya Eva Paro also. And the best rasa is Adya Madhurya Ras. There is no other rasa that can compare to this. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood. I have met an unconventional devotee who is free from all the false presuppositions that so many others have. This person has reached the correct conclusions in life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sadhu, Sadhu, you will have understood. You have understood. Here is the translation. Please be thorough.
From of Jam, the city of Parshad, Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna's fresh will to always be meditated upon and Madhu Purasas.
To reach this point of realization, you have to surpass all the false presuppositions that people will put and also Shastra will put. I hope you are able to understand. Sometimes Shastra will also give you presuppositions. People will also give you presuppositions. Shastra will say it is very important to worship Sri Krishna in Dwarka. I hope you are able to understand. Huh? Krishna's Dwarka Lila is also very important. Yes or no? Unless you understand Dwarka Lila, you cannot appreciate Vrindavan Lila. Huh? So very good is then you are stuck in that presupposition. Somebody who is an unconventional devotee will tell you actually aim directly for the final goal. Shyamam eva param rupam puri madhupuri vara vayah kaishorakam keyam adya eva parorasah. But many people will not be able to muster up the strength to take up the path. I'll make a statement here. Please hear carefully. It's an English statement, but it has significant importance in my life. It is better to have loved and lost rather than never have loved at all. It is better to have loved and lost rather than never have loved at all. Please note this statement very carefully. And if you understand what I mean, if you are light-hearted, you will understand what I mean. Dear devotees. There is a verse in the Gita. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shuddhasya. Arjun, when your intelligence has passed through the dense forest of all delusions, then you will go beyond what is to be heard and what is not to be heard. Isn't it? So it is very important, dear devotees, to reach this point of realization. This personality must have gone through so many presuppositions and has overcome all the hurdles to be at this point. This is not an easy place to be. It's a very rare place. And only an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can have this place. Dear devotees, if we say Shyamameva Param Rupam, Sri Rupa Goswami starts describing that wonderful form of Shyam, which Sri Radha saw when she was growing up in devotees. In the past times of Sri Vrindavan, this was the first meeting of Sri Radha and Krishna. It's a technical name to it. It is called, please repeat, Purvaraj. What is it called? Purvaraj. Purvar, very sweet, joyous pastimes. There is absolutely no trace of vulgarity in any of the verses that Sri Rupa Goswami writes. Very sweet pastimes. In Sanskrit, it is called Ashleel. Ashleel is a Sanskrit term. Ashleel means vulgar. There is no vulgarity in any of the pastimes. They're very sweet pastimes. They nourish your heart. And therefore, dear devotees, it's important that at least we Gaudiya Vaishnavas should inherit the legacy of Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Rupa Goswami describes the first sight that Sri Radha had of Sri Krishna. One fine day, dear devotees, she was walking on the banks of the Yamuna, and then, dear devotees, she happened to see this particular personality who was sitting on the banks of the Yamuna. When he was sitting on the banks of the Yamuna, and she was glancing at him from a distance from behind. Suddenly, this very crooked person gave her a sidelong glance. She ran away. She didn't even know his name at that point of time. She ran away. She came home and her heart was not in the same place like little Goopis. Struck by love. I hope you're able to understand for the first time. Poor Baran. Noticing her unease, her friends Sri Lalita and Vishaka asked her what happened. So she is very honest with her friends. She's very straightforward. She's honest with her friends. She said something to them. This is a verse Sri Rupa Goswami describes. The meter is Padyavali. She's speaking to Sri Lalita and Vishaka. I'll try to sing. The meter is Shikharini, and Shikharini is the same meter as Jagannath Ashtakam. And we sing after. अकस्मादेकस्मिन् पतिसति मायायामुततम् व्रजन्त्यादृष्टो यो नवजलधरश्चामलतनु सदृग्भङ्ग्याग्निं मा गुरुदनाहि जाने तथैदम् मनोविज्ञालोलं वचनगृहकृत्य न लगतो Suddenly I was walking Pathi on that path. Sanskrit term Pathi, English term. Suddenly I was walking on that path. Suddenly, Sakhi, oh dear friend, Maya Yamuna Tatam. It was Tata. It was the banks of this river. Was my path to walk upon. What is the path which I walk upon? Vrajantya, as I was walking, Drishtoyo, suddenly I saw, oh my goodness, Navat Jaladhara Shyamalatan. I saw, I don't know how to describe his complexion. I have never seen such a path. So my friends say, at least describe how he looked. We'll draw a painting of him. His body was like a fresh dark rainbow. What? But I can't describe it. His body was like a fresh dark rainbow. So what happened? When I was looking from behind that mirror, and suddenly he gave us crooked glance. Sadrik Bhangya, Drik Bhangya, with that crooked glance. Kimva Puruta, I don't know what he did with that. Nahi jane. I don't know what happened. I don't know what. Devotees, he knows what. He knows what. Bhagavan gave her a sidelong glance. And he said, I know you have fallen for me. Devotees, huh? He did not say it to his words. To his glance, he said, I know you have fallen for me. And devotees, the person who said that to his glance, Krishna, he also had fallen for him. I don't know. Tataridam, from that time onwards, Manome Vyalolam, my mind is spinning around. Vachana Griha Kritye, in all household work, na lage. It is not, I have no interest in household work. Man. Devotees, would you like to see that side of plants? Look at the crooked person. He gave a sidelong glance. She was love struck. She ran away in fear. Devotees, our Bhagavan told her, I know you have fallen for me. I don't. This is Purvarag. Devotees. Purvarag has successfully taken place. This is the translation of the verse. Prabhu, kindly read the translation of the verse.
Because one fine day, as I was walking down the banks of Yamuna, I saw a person whose complexion was dark like a fresh new grey cloud. I do not know what great magical spell cast on using his side-brown glasses. Since that time, my mind is constantly spinning around. It does not take any interest in performing any household chores.
Yeah. Devotees, in the as Sri Radha's age increases, there are uh, three moods that she goes through. Please repeat after me. First is called Mugdha. The second is called Madhyama. And third is called Praudha. Mugdha is very sweet, innocent, she's shy, she runs away. I hope you're able to understand. Huh? So that is called as Mugdha. Madhya is partially shy, partially bold. Praudha is fully bold. The lady devotee this is which stage? Mugdha. She's very shy, ran away. Later, when she'll meet Krishna, their regular meetings will begin. She'll turn into Madhya. Madhya means partially shy, partially bold. That is when we will see that. Sri Rupa Goswami gives those names. Huh? Mugdha Radha, Madhya Radha. Those are the names. The devotee is here, she is Mugdha. The best is Madhya. She remains Madhya. She never turns into that Prauda. Prauda is usually others who insult sometimes. Some other gopis will insult Krishna. So she doesn't do that so often, but she remains Madhya. Madhya means partially shy, partially bold. But here she is fully shy. Like Mugdha. There's some pieces where Dalita Vishaka. Can you describe little more? We have Chitra Sati here with her. She will draw a painting. Huh? Okay. Okay. Describe more about it. Sri Radha starts describing more about it. This verse is in the meter Vasanta Tilakam. I will try to sing. Please repeat after me. Vansudravasthanakavrindanivandadhan Amuktamautikavaraharvajaya Jagadan Karoti. Like Chitra Sati, you draw a painting of him. Indivara Udara Sahodara Medura Shri. Oh, what is? It's a big long term. When you interpret such a long Sanskrit term, you have to go in the reverse direction in English. Alright? Shri is effulgence, was Medura, very soft effulgence. He did not have a very piercing effulgence. He had a very soft effulgence. And what sort of a soft effulgence? Sahodara, effulgence which looks like exactly like hosts of Indivara Udara, hosts of dark blue lotuses. If in the middle of the full moon night, if they give out an effulgence, that effulgence, soft effulgence is his effulgence. Now, I don't know, Chikrasati, how you will talk. Right? You were saying he's a dark rain cloud. Now you are saying he's a. What's happening? Are you? Is everything good? Is everything okay? So what to do? I can't describe him exactly. His color was like, his complexion was like no other complexion I have seen in this world. The devotee Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says the color blue is not the color of Krishna. You cannot locate the color of Krishna on the red, green, blue palette. Therefore, dear devotees, amongst all the 65 million colors that are present on a modern computer, none of them represents it. None of them. That color is seen only by and it is not seen, it is mainly seen Santa Sadaiva Hridaye Shubhavaya. As long as you are a practitioner, you will see in the heart. When you become perfect, you will see also through the spiritualized body. Very good. It's very important. That color I could not describe, she says. But somewhat like this. And Vaso, his cloth was fine silk, Chinambara, Chinese silk, it is called Chinambara. Previously, even 5,000 years ago, they used to import silk from Chin. So Chin is very famous for what they what is silk. Chinam sugar. Many acharyas say Chinam sugar. Krishna wears Chinambara. Chinambara means, of course, not we don't want China in the spiritual world. Like in the material world, that fine quality of silk was manifested in one place, which place is that airport is China. And Bhagwan Sri Krishna would wear that because it is almost resembling that which he wears in the eternal spiritual world. China. So that wonderful silken cloths he was wearing, Dravat Kanaka Vrindanibham. Dravat Kanaka Vrindanibham, it was having the shade of molten gold. Now, how many of us have seen gold again? How many of us are wearing gold? Show gold on your fingers. So Mataji is wearing bangles of gold. So that is gold. If you melt it, it turns one shade lighter. Right? So that becomes molten gold. That lighter and brighter. So that is the color, exact color he was wearing. And Mukta Mauktika Manohara Hara Vaksha, another long sentence. Vaksha, his chest was having a har liberally hanging necklace of mukta of pearls. As he was moving, that liberally hanging necklace was also moving around with him. Koyam Yuva. I don't know who is this young person. I don't know his name. Jagad Anangamayam Paroti. Ever since I saw him, entire Jagat. What is Jagat, dear devotees? The world. Anangamayam has become full of Ananga for me. What is Ananga, dear devotees? Kamadev. It has become full of love. I see love everywhere. I see love everywhere. In Hindi, there is a proverb. Sawan ka andha rahu dekta hai. A person who goes blind in the green rainy season sees everything green. Similarly, a person who went blind after seeing this dark rain cloud, this Kamadev, Madan Mohan, is going to see Madan everywhere. Devotees. Koyam Duvan. Who is this person? Jagat. My entire universe is filling with Ananga. Kamadev is called Ananga. Cupid is called Ananga because Ananga, he doesn't have a body. He tried his adventures one day with Bhagwan Shiva. Bhagwan Shiva opened his third eye and he became Ananga. Isn't it? There's a hidden meaning to the poetry, devotees. Koyam Yuvam, who is this young boy? Jagat, the entire world. Ananga Mayam. He is making Ananga. The entire world he is making without material bodies. Anybody who looks at him loses their material bodies. Koyam Yuva, who is in Jagat Anangamayam Karo, is making the entire world liberated from material bodies. There are two meanings. Pan is called Shlesh. Pan is introduced by the poet. Here is the translation. Please read.
His effulgence is as soothing as the effulgence emanating from the gold mouth new rulers. He wears clothes that resemble brilliant molten gold. Necklace of crystal pearl hangs liberally from his neck. He is a who is this young boy? His Ang body is making the entire world completely ananga. World of body, no.
So very wonderful verse by Sri Sarva Vidya Vinod, compiled by Sri Rupa Goswami Padyavali. devotees in those days, there was no Google, right? Huh? Once you hear a verse, you have only one opportunity to note it down, right? So as soon as Sri Rupa Goswami heard the verse, he made it a point. Oh my goodness, this is a wonderful verse. I'll note it down in my Padyavali. The Padyavali is an assorted collection of sweets of Sri Rupa Goswami. You are opening Sri Rupa Goswami's chocolate box. Very good. Right? And you are finding the sweets inside. Sri Rupa Goswami left his box of chocolates for all of us. That is Padyavali. We are picking one. Very good. It's very important. Now, Chitra Sati starts drawing. The first painting, she rather this is not the person. Draw again. She tries another time. The other says, please, can you try harder? We're getting close. She draws a third time. This, this was the person. In those days, there was no wanted list. I hope you remember. Else we would have put it up wanted. But this is the person. I want this person. This person, ever since I have seen it, my mind has become restless. Then Chitra Sati said, "Arey, I didn't you. You were giving so many ideas about his complexion. And dark gray cloud, blue latex. You just tell me the color. I would have drawn it nicely in the first attempt. If you simply would have told me that the color is Krishna, which color? Which color? Whose name is Krishna? She does not know. Really. She does not know. Sri Rupa Goswami specifies that the verse at this point of time. Verse is in the meter, Shardula, we read it out. Same as Shad Goswami Ashtapan. I've seen, please repeat after. एकस्य श्रुतमेव लोपतिमतं कृष्णेति नामाक्षरम् कृष्णेति नामाक्षरम् सान्द्रोन्मादपरम्परामपरया ज्ञानस्य वंशीकला कष्टांदे पुरुषत्रयेरधिरवो मन्ये प्रत्यक्षे what what name did you speak? Ekasya Shrutameva Lumpati I'm losing my mind by hearing the name of this person. I don't know who is this person. His name is Krishneti Namaksharam. His name has the syllables Krishna. This is person one. And yesterday, when I went to the forest, I heard Sandranmada Paramparama Paraya Gyanyasya Vamshikala. I heard there was another person playing the flute. He was playing the flute on the fifth note. I tried to follow in the forest. My goodness, I don't know what happened. The person disappeared and that sound also disappeared. She had seen him for the first time. He was not with the flute, he was just sitting on the bench. So she does not know this really good. So person one is named Krishna. Person two is he whose flute I heard, I could not see him. Just in the forest, there was this sweet There is a Sanskrit term, kakali, the sweet sound of the flute. It was coming very soft, very soft. You'll have to put your ears to it in order to hear it. And it will not pierce your ears. You have to put your ears to it in order to hear it. That sound I heard in the forest. I tried to follow it, but no matter how much I followed it, I could not reach the source of that sound. And this third person is in front of me who's painting your drawing, that whom I saw that day on the Times of the River. Esha Snigdha Ghana Kirtir, this wonderful dark form, Manasime Lagna Sakrit Vikshana. Since I have seen him, it is not leaving my mind. Person one is whose name is Krishna. Person two, the one who was playing the flute. Person three that you have drawn on the painting. Custom is alas, I am a chaste girl, people say. Purushatraye Ratirabhut. I am simultaneously attached to how many men? My family is boasting about my chastity, and here I am attached to three men. Mati and Mriti Shreyasi. I think death is better than living in this way. It is better to die rather than living in this way. Here is the translation. The Rupa Goswami is Vitat Pramadana.
Here the name Krishna, a particular man, causes me to lose my mind. Another man gazing sweet, you can cause me to become mad. There is also a third man whose dark cloud-like complexion has become quickly in my mind. Navas, you are fire, fire. I am a chess lady, yet my mind is attached to three different men.
My dear devotees, both parties are equally hurt by the arrows of prema. They want to meet each other, but they cannot muster up the courage to meet each other. Dear devotees, this is called Purvara. What is it called? Dear devotees, Purvara. They cannot muster up the courage to meet each other. She wants to talk to him. He also wants to talk to her, but he has a big ego. His ego is giant. Why should I be the one? History should not remember me as the weak-hearted one. Dear devotees, of course, next day when he went in front of his friends, Madhu Mangal noticed something is strange about this person. Madhu Mangal asked him, Krishna, is everything okay? So, why? Krishna, is everything okay? Madhu Mangal, don't tell anyone. Sure, why not? He wanted to tell everything, but his ego came in the way. He lied to his own friends. He did not tell the truth. This is what he said. Say meter Vasanta Tilakam, I'll sing. तस्यां सखे मुखतुषारमयूखबिम्बे तस्यां सखे मुखतुषारमयूखबिम्बे पदविमधिगूढमात्रे अन्तदशपथकोटिभिरम्भयाहम् क्षणादः तद्मनि भोजनाय तस्या सखे. Bhagavan is saying Sakhe. But his Sakha is translated as co-friend. Oh, friend is very formal. It sounds very formal in Hindi. I will first say, then I'll also say in English. Sakhe is like in Hindi, you say, Are yaar. Yeah. So, or in English, we will say, Padi. Yeah. I okay. So that's more informal. So, Sakhe is that. Because we are saying, oh, friend. That's not how we even speak to our own friends. Oh, friend. How are you? Sakhe. Hey, I tell you something. तस्याः मुखतुषारमयूखपिम्पे Turan Mamakshi Padili Madiruda Matre. Oh, he uses all his expertise. Hear what he said. When the full moon of her face arose on the eastern horizon of my eyes. Can say when I looked at her for the first time. I was like, नहीं नहीं, he's like, Kalakanda. You know what is Kalakanda? Kala, Kala, artistic is his content, his throat, his speech is Kalakanda. Kalakanda. Very, very sweet in his throat. When the full moon of her face arose for the first time on the eastern horizon of heavens. Oh, wow. Madhumangal said, what happened then? He's lying. Very good. He gave a crooked sidelong glance. I hope you're able to understand. It is an outright lie. Yeah, Madhumangal, I saw her. But suddenly, Nirbandhataha Shapatapoti Virambayaha. Mother Yashoda came there and said, Krishna, what are you doing? You have to go home. Chanat, Sadmani, Bhojanaya. Eat the eat food, lunch. Chalo, oh, what a liar you are. You're lying through your teeth. Again, what is that? Lying to his own friends. He doesn't want to tell his own friends that I gave a crooked sidelong glance, made her run away in the forest. You know? How crooked can you be? Lying to your own friends. Huh? What is this is his nature. Huh? Big ego. What is I will not be the first one to make the first move. Get what is here is the translation. Oh, friend. Oh, friend. No, no. That's it. Are- Moonlight is rose on the rise of my eyes. My mother came and took me away from there. She gave me millions of reports, asked me to go back home with her. Big time liar. Big time. What time do we have? Huh? We can continue? Okay. Would everyone like to? Yeah. We are not getting late. If we are getting late, then forget about he's lying to his own friends. Big time liar. Now the deadlock is not breaking. He is not speaking to her. She is not able to approach him directly. Nobody is making the first move. Sri Lalita Sati suggests to her, why don't you write a letter? So she writes a letter. Now, dear devotees, if you know how love letters, how many of you have written a love letter? All of you are Hare Krishna, you don't write love letter. Yeah. Sorry, sorry. Wrong question for the wrong audience. So, if you know how to write a love letter, those of you who don't know, so only in your hearts you can raise your hands. So, I hope all those of you know how many of you wrote. So, if you know how to write a love letter, it is very important to know how to write love letters. And because in such letters, you should ideally not write the name of the sender and the receiver. Because Krishna tomorrow will show that love letter and say, this is from you, you made the first move. At that time, Sri Radha should be able to say, where is my name there? That you are taking somebody else's love letter and putting it on me. Forget what is. A love letter was written and it had no name, only a message. Lalita Sakhi uh, came where Sri Krishna was with his friends and said, "There is a letter for you." By whom? There is a letter for you. Take it or leave it. So our Krishna took the letter, kept it with him. In front of his friends, he didn't say anything. Then he went to a quiet place. And Sri Rupa Goswami says, Sri Krishna started breathing heavily, took out the letter. Krishna said to himself, Samashvasiti, 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 calm down. Calm down. This may be the first love letter you have received. Devotees, many of you are laughing. Sri Rupa Goswami says, this is a semblance of Hasyaras. Which ras devotees? Hasya. Hasyaras is the close companion of Madhuryaras. Wherever Madhuryaras will be there, you will find one very close companion. Which companion? Hasyaras. Okay? So devotees. Then he opened the letter. And then this love letter from Sri Radha, Sri Rupa Goswami describes. This love letter is in a language 5,000 years old, Shauraseni language. So Sri Rupa Goswami brings that exact Shauraseni language in his writings. The meter of the verse is Arya. I will try to sing. Please repeat after me. Dhari apadi chanda gunam. Dhari apadi chanda gunam. Tunvara mama mandira tumam vasasi. Tunvara mama mandira tumam vasasi. Tah tah rundha sivalayam. Tah tah rundha sivalayam. जहाँ जहाँ चाहता पलाए में जहाँ जहाँ चाहता पलाए में Chauraseni language 5,000 years old devotees. In modern northern India, there is a language, Sindhi language, which is somewhat similar to this, a derivation of this particular language, devotees. 5,000-year-old language, Chauraseni, was introduced by Maharaj Shurasen, originally a language from the spiritual world. Sanskrit and Chauraseni, originally languages from the spiritual world, introduced in Bharat Varsha by Maharaj Shurasen's dynasty, Shurasen's dynasty. Because before Bhagwan comes, his abode has to come, his language has to come, everything has to be said. Chauraseni language, the devotees. So, Sri Radha is saying, Hari Apadi Chanda, only the message is there. You can see not sender, receiver, nobody is named devotees. Hari Apadi Chanda Gunam, Sundara, oh beautiful one. And Hari Apadi Chanda Gunam, taking this beautiful form, Mama Mandira Tumam Vasasi. You have you are now present in the temple of my heart. Get what is indirect hint. My heart is fully golden in color. Get what is the complexion of Sri Radha's heart? Golden. Now, for the first time, there is one black spot in that golden heart. It's one dark spot in that golden heart. And this dark spot is increasing in size. And trying to run away wherever I run away in my heart. Jaha jaha jaida palaye, you are surrounding me everywhere. I don't know what to do. Before I go crazy, do something so that we can meet. Very good. This is the hidden indication behind the letter. Please read the passage. As you forget, you are now residing in the temple of my heart. In whichever direction I try to run away, you appear there and surround me with your presence. I am unable to move. You come my way. Do something to make sure that a meeting is arranged. Sri Krishna gets the message. The devotees. Sri Krishna knows. Now she's asking for help. Sri Krishna goes home. Next day, Sri Krishna comes. Madhu Mangal says, We have heard there is a letter. The temperature is soaring, isn't it? This person, instead of honestly agreeing, starts blaming the other side. The verse is in the meter, Mandakranta. I'll try to sing, please repeat after me. स्निग्धैरेविसतिरतिलैरथेनुवृन्दानुसारे नारीवार्ता विमुख हृदय काननान्ते चरामि पार्श्वैरण्यस्तदपि यदिमां दूषयन्ति प्रकामम् तद्विज्ञप्तिं द्रुतमिह जरा गोपगोष्ठ्यान्तरिक्षे when Madhumangal is asking like this, Lalita Sakhi comes suddenly there. She's again waiting to come and meet Krishna to get his response. Do you have a response letter or not? So Madhumangal says, we've heard there is a letter. No. There are all false accusations on me. Lalita Sakhi says, admit honesty. Bhagavan threatens. Krishna, Snigdhairevi Sakhi Virakilai. I am with my sakhas. I am with my friends all the day. है ना Madhumangal? Do I go anywhere else? No. No Vrindhanusari with the cows. I am roaming in the cows. Innocent boy. Then he said, Nari Varta Vimukha Hriday. My heart is completely detached even about speaking of ladies. That is my pristine character. Kananante Charami. I am roaming in the forest all day, like the yogis roam. They don't speak about women. I am also roaming in the forest. Do I? Lalita Sakhi said, Krishna, don't lie. Mass sweariness. You gopis are very bold ladies. Tadapi yadima dushayanti prakama. You are spoiling my reputation. I am warning you. Stop right now. Otherwise, tad vidyaptim drutam iha jarat gopa goshtham karisho. I will go tomorrow to the assembly of the elderly gopas and complain against all of you. What complaint? It is spoiling my name. What name are we spoiling? That I have fallen in love with the daughter of Maharaj Vrishabhanu. Go tell Krishna. Go and say, we know you will not be able to muster up the courage. Go and say, Kedivati is very bold. Nangali has boldly she said. It's wonderful work, Prabhu Goswami. You can happen. And this point, follow his own doubts and forest. My heart is completely detached from talks of women. Still, this unrestrained focus has been spoiled by religion, casting false accusations of women. Since this is the case, I will quickly complain from the death in the assembly of my class. Person who is very beautiful looking and has a big ego and cannot confess his love. Anyways, I hope you get the image. Okay? Very beautiful looking person who's proud of his beauty and also has a big ego and will not make the first move. The devotees will do one last verse and then we'll pause for today. That evening he goes home. He sees there is a big festival being organized. So asks his mother, what is happening? So mother Yashoda says, I don't know, they are preparing for a festival. Which festival? When Indra Puja is coming up. Achha. people are going to come. Everybody is going. I have pressure on. Is it fine? Oh, Krishna. Sorry, Nanda Maharaj. He could not come. He has to go today to pay taxes to King Kamsa. So he and his family are going away. Maybe they will come in a day or two. They are not coming. Can at least one member of the family come as a representative? Mother Yashoda said, Krishna, which member? Any member. Because if he says right now, which member? Any member will do. No, everybody should come. It will not look good. It will not affect us. Really, everybody should. Okay, Krishna. We'll send one messenger. It's good you reminded us. Yes, one member should come. So one elderly gopi was sent that very day to the palace of Maharaj Vrishabhanu. Yeah, of course, all of you are going, but can you send one person as a representative? Shri Radha started saying, I want to go. I don't want to go to that Mathura to go, to the festival. Because Sri Radha understood Bhagavan has made the arrangement. So we wanted to pick up on that. I want to go. I want to go. All right. Okay. She's, but Sri Radha, you will stay happily there. You want to stay there and come tomorrow. Right? Yeah, yeah. I will come tomorrow. And tomorrow morning I will come. So the elderly gopi called Sri Radha. And Sri Radha is Krishna's home. And festival is going on. Our the boy of the home is loitering around. Get over there. He's giving sidelong glances and he can't speak directly. Big ego. He's speak directly. Get over this. So finally, evening happens. Evening takes place, and then Sri Radha starts crying. Not happy here. I want to go back home. I'm feeling homesick. I'm feeling homesick. Hmm? What happened? No, no, I don't know. I don't want to stay here. I'm feeling homesick. Three devotees at this point of time, she's crying in front of Mother Yashoda. She's feeling homesick, and Sri Rupa Goswami describes in a verse in Padyavali. The meter is Shardula Vikrilitam, same as Sri Goswami Ashtakam. Can we sing together this time, devotees? Let's sing together. Ahutaryamahotsave nishikritam Shunyam Vimuchyagata Shiva Preshadana Vatsa Kantadimaya Shudvaya Shodhariyo Radha She is crying here. I want to go home. I am very, I'm feeling homesick. So Mother Yashoda is thinking, Ahutadya Mahotsave. Today I have called her for Mahotsav. What is Mahotsav? What is festival? Nishi Griham. And at the night she wants to go to her home. Her home is Shunyam. Her home is what? Shunyam, empty. There's nobody at her home. Vimuchyagata, and she has come. Maybe her parents will come tomorrow or in the afternoon sometime. So Vimuchyagata, she has come. So what to do? She's crying so much. I'll call that Gopi, elderly Gopi, who had bought her. And I will send that elderly Gopi with her. That elderly Gopi will take her home and will stay the night. You know? And tomorrow morning, elderly Gopi will come back. So Mother Yashoda goes and tries to find the elderly Gopi. All the gopis, Shiva Presha Jana, all of them are super busy in all the activities. Kadham Kulavadhur, how will this young child? How will she go alone? I can't send her alone. Suddenly, somebody is loitering around. So Mother Yashoda notices, Arey, boy of the home is free, sitting free. You know how Indian mothers are. Yeah. Young boy is sitting free. So mother will ask, what are you doing? It's a big trap. What are you doing? Nothing. Acha, to come here. What's Krishna? You know Sri Radha? Tvam tadimam nayalayam. Can you take her? But it's evening time. I can take her. There's still sun is there. I can take her. But I want to return back to the festival. I want to enjoy the festival. And come back at night. Okay. Oh, can you do one thing? She's crying. She has to go. For for me, Krishna. For you take her there, and if it is evening, you still come back. Huh? But I suggest she is also alone there. No, stay till tomorrow morning and come back. Mother Yashoda has complete trust, my innocent boy. Oh, she does not know. Yatha tatha vana vidatha tu. What sort of lumped is there in the home? It was. She has absolutely. So, Krishna, you take her. It's too late at night. You come back tomorrow morning. Chudva Yashoda Giro, hearing the words of Mother Yashoda. Radha Madhavayo Jayanti Madhura Smuralasa. Both Radha and Madhav started smiling, not through their face, through their eyes. Because Sri Radha is just crying right now. If she starts smiling immediately, huh, whole cover will be blown. So she did not smile through her face. They smiled through their. This is smiling through the face, smiling through the eyes. Please look here. Deliberately smiling through the eyes. Radha Madhavayo. Madhura Smeralasa. All glories to these two victorious eyes of Radha and Madhav smiling. Bhagavan is such an expert. He arranged his first meeting through the agency of Mother Yakshoda. That is his expertise. And also, he will have this big playing in the future. You were afraid, therefore I had come. You see, otherwise I was not. I hope you are able to understand. It was you who was asking, and therefore I came and don't take advantage of my gentlemanly big ego. There is which needs to be defeated. I hope you are able to understand. Huh? So here is the translation. Prabhu, please. Vishnu thought, I have invited Radha for a festival. Nobody at her home. She has come here by herself. But now she has to return back. All the servants are fully occupied in the festival. How will this chaste girl go back safely? She then said, dear boy, please safely take her back the night to her home. Hearing this, the eyes of Radha Madhav who just smiled. Shy glance make a smile as if word was victorious. Today, devotees, I ask you how many of you would like to have finally have a particular master who's straightforward, never speaks lies, always speaks the truth. None of you raise your hands, right? When I ask how many of you would like to have a master who constantly speaks lies and constantly falsely cries, constantly, pretends, and almost all of you raise your hands. But I'll tell you something. Sri Rupa Goswami says in the spiritual world, Dear devotee, it is much better to be situated under the servitude of Sri Radha than to be dealing with this crooked personality for eternity. I hope you're able to understand. Huh? Finally, we need a merciful master who understands our heart, not a person who lies to his own friends. Like everybody say, this is very important. Hmm? That in the spiritual world, Sri Rupa Goswami's mood is twofold. Please repeat after me. Madhurya towards Krishna and Dasya towards Sri Radha. I hope you're able to understand. Huh? Madhurya towards Sri Krishna, Dasya towards Sri Radha. Sri Rupa Goswami specifies in his own words in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this is 25128. I will share the screen so that devotees can also have a look. Sri Rupa Goswami in his own words. Sanchari syat samunava Krishna Radhya Suhridrati Adhika Pushpamana Che Bhavolas Tiryate Krishna Rati and Suhrid Rati. Some people are there, some devotees are there in the spiritual world who have only Krishna Rati, only attachment to whom? Krishna. Some people are there who have attachment to Krishna as well as attachment to somebody dear to Krishna. Who is dear to Krishna? Dear devotees. So Krishna Rati and Suhrid Rati. Dear devotees, I will write it down. Krishna Rati and Suhrid Rati. So dear devotees, in Krishna Rati and Suhrid Rati, if Krishna Rati is greater than Suhrid Rati, which means attachment to Krishna is greater than attachment to Sri Radha, Sri Rupa Goswami says it is called Sanchari Bhav. What is it called, dear devotees? Transitory emotion. You may some devotees may have transitory emotions towards Sri Radha's servitude. It rises and goes away. But what is the most prominent dear devotees attachment towards whom? Krishna. But in some devotees, Suhrid Rati becomes greater than Krishna Rati, greater or equal to Suhrid Rati. Adhika and Pushyamana, it constantly keeps increasing. Servitude of Sri Radha is much more than Madhurya attachment towards Sri Krishna. And if that becomes the case, Sri Rupa Goswami says, if this is the case, it is called a special Rati. Dear devotees, please repeat after me. Bhavollasanti. This is the exact mode of Sri Rupa Goswami. Devotees. So Sri Rupa Goswami describes his own mood in the Bhakti Rasamrita. It's an open textbook. Devotees, you can read and find out for yourself what is the exact mood of Sri Rupa Goswami. So Sri Jiva Goswami explains in the commentary to Sri Jiva Goswami explains specifically. Evam madhurakhya rase. This is possible only in one ras, devotees. Which ras? Madhurya ras. In all other rasas, attachment to an associate can never become greater than attachment to. But only in one ras, devotees. Which ras? Madhurya ras. Servitude, dasya towards Sri Radha can trump. Sorry for using that word. Can trump, huh? Madhurya or dasya towards Sri Radha can become can supersede or become victorious over Madhurya or Sri Krishna. And when that happens, dear devotees, it gets a special name of its own. What is the name, dear devotees? Bhavollasanti. Bhavollasanti is the aim that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas have. Now, I'm not speaking very esoteric, it's in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Maybe we don't do it in the Bhakti Shastri because we stop at Bhav Bhakti. But if we read after Bhav Bhakti, we will come across this. I'm only giving the hint of cues that this is the mood of Sri Rupa Goswami. And therefore, he gave it a special mention in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So, if attachment to Krishna is greater than attachment to associates, it is called which? Sanchayama, a transitory emotion. But if attachment to associate, but is only one ras this happens. Which ras happens in which ras? Madhurya ras. Attachment to associate becomes greater than attachment to Krishna. And attachment to Sri Radha in which ras, dear devotees? Tasya. Very important. Attachment to Sri Radha. attachment to Sri Krishna and which has Madhuri. There are some sampradayas in Vrindavan who say, we have nothing to do with Krishna, we only want Sri Radha. No, beware, dear devotees. There is attachment to Krishna, in which ras dear devotees? Madhuri. And there is attachment to Sri Radha, in which ras? Dasya. But that attachment to Sri Radha in Dasya ras supersedes, far supersedes the attachment to Sri Krishna. Therefore, even when we go to Sri Vrindavan, we are listening to many sampradayas here and there. And they may say, do I have to do with Krishna? Krishna has to come like a servant if I am with Sri Radha. No, no, no. Sri Radha doesn't have the mood of making Krishna a servant. Please try to understand. I hope you're able to understand. It's very important to follow in the mood of Sri Rupa Goswami. Otherwise, you'll make a mistake in understanding the exactness of the mood of Sri Radha. So Sri Radha always wants to render service to Sri Krishna, always wants to render loving service to Sri Krishna. And she will only chastise Krishna if Krishna is in a mood. I hope you're able to understand. If Krishna wants it. If Krishna doesn't want it, she will not do it. She only chastises Krishna when Krishna wants to experience chastisement. That mood of Sri Radha is understood perfectly by Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam. Sri Radha is nothing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is carrying whose mood devotees. So Sri Chaitanya Mana is actually whose Mana? Her Abhishta is whose Abhishta? Sri Radha's Abhishta. And who is the one who understood it? Is Rupa Goswami. And not only did he selfishly keep it to himself. Sthapita Miyana Bhutale. Here it is, established on planet Earth. Soyam Rupa. When will Sri Rupa Goswami? Kada Mahiyam Dadati. When will he give? Swa Padantikam. The end of his pada. What is the meaning of pada, dear devotees? Speech, no, poetry. When will he give me the far ending meanings of his poetry? Swa, pada, antikam. Dear devotees, two meanings. The end of his lotus feet or the final hidden meanings of his poetry. When will Sri Rupa Goswami give? Dear devotees, if Sri Rupa Goswami is merciful, he will definitely bestow all those meanings within our heart. So, dear devotees, this is the mood of servitude of Shiva. At this point, I'll pause my speech. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Yadatra skalitam kinchit vidvam sah purayantu tat. Yadatra saushtavam kinchit tad guroreva mena. Yadatra skalitam kinchit. If there's any mistake that I made, vidvam sah, you are learning devotees purayantu tat. Please correct any mistakes. But yadatra saushtavam kinchit. If there's anything nice, even a single slide, even a single verse, even a single line, even a single word, even a single syllable, or if even half a syllable was nice. Please remember, Tad Guru Reva. It belongs to my Gurujanas, my Diksha Guru, Sri Srimad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj. My Shiksha Gurus, all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada are my Diksha Guru, all the God brothers of Srila Prabhupada, all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas in all the family trees of Mahaprabhu in the past, in the future, and in the present, including all of you are also my Shiksha Gurus. It belongs to you. May nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Thank you, Sham Kishore Prabhu, for kindly organizing. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare. Question? Two questions. Okay. Yes. Oh, we'll have one question. Then, yeah. I always like Padyavali to join the heart. We explain Sanchari also say like pointing power go card. This is Monday. This is our last. How Gopi? Gopis, they have Madhuras. I hope you're able to. If they are independent of Sri Radha, huh? I hope if they're independent of Sri Radha, there are many who are independent. Ah, right? And sometimes they may feel some little dasi towards Sri. Sometimes Chandravali comes to Sri Radha and says, actually, you are the most glorious. I should serve you. Sometimes she realizes her mistake. I should not compete. I should be serving you. But does it happen as a permanent mood or as a temporary emotion? Next day, back to rivalry. It would, yeah, that is called Sanchari. What is the meaning of Sanchari? Sri Rupa Goswami says Sanchari is like the wave of the ocean which rises in the ocean and merges in the ocean but nourishes the ocean. Okay, so that is called as Sanchari. Sanchari is not going to stay permanently. Bhavollas is when it is permanent. So that is the difference. Like we have to know the Goswamis have taught Bhavollas. That is what the Goswamis have taught. If we understand this, then we are understanding the mood of Sri Rupa Goswami. Because the reason is all the many glorious sampradayas in Sri Vrindavan, all of them are glorious. I don't have anything negative to say about any of them. But I have a right to glorify my grandfather. I hope you are good. That is Sri Rupa Goswami. So I must say what my grandfather has said. I am inheritor of his property. So if I am inheriting his property, I should show the good side of his property. This is what we have. So this is what. So I will always take sides with Sri Rupa Goswami because we Gaudiya Vaishnavas are inheriting the property of Sri Rupa. So this is the paksha. This is because it's a very nuanced philosophy. And nuanced philosophy, you can't be an impersonalist and say all modes are all right. You know? You have to take sides. So, some people, oh, Vrindavan, everything is okay, just take any mode. So, these people are not nuanced. You know, it is, huh? They don't have the finer nuances of understanding which mode is slightly better, which mode is not so much slightly better for myself. So this is very finely nuanced, or what you say, niche, a niche within the fine niche within the philosophies. But when there are finer nuances, we should also have that ability to take sides with that particular nuance of the philosophy that we desire to have. So all sampradayas are glorious, but Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami. Yes, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so then, yeah, Jivan
Thank
Goswami.
you so much for what you do because all you all the sessions. So I have two questions. So all the past sessions we have mentioned about they are not to be so high. So I have not so that what does your realization?
Yeah, so it's a very, very important question that are these to be found in some other shastra or are they realization? So when you start performing Smaran of Bhagwan, Smaran is remembrance of Bhagwan, it begins with stage one where the Smaran is broken and then it becomes Dharana, concentrated, then becomes Dhyan, even further concentrated. Then Dhruvanusmriti. Dhruvanusmriti is fixed consciousness. And finally comes Samadhi. Samadhi is when only Bhagwan and his associates stay within the mind, nothing else. In the stage of Samadhi, Bhagwan is perfectly within the heart, and the pastimes that Bhagwan is executing in the spiritual world come within the heart. Examples of Samadhi Granthas, Gopal Cham, Shijiv Goswami. Shijiv Goswami is a thoroughly honest personality. He's not going to just, this is my imagination. Because first and foremost, he will not write something out of imagination. He will first make sure that he is situated on the stage of Samadhi. On the stage of Samadhi, Sri Jiva Goswami wrote all the pastimes that happened in the spiritual world after Krishna departed from this world 5,000 years ago. In Gopal Champu, he describes. And then Damodar Leela he describes. Much of it as similar that it happened in this world. And then after that, he says, at the end of Damodar Leela, there were two trees that were delivered. Yamala. Gradually, those two trees also got delivered. And the two singers of Krishna in the spiritual world, Madhukant and Snigdhakant, are the recently added associates. Adhunik Parikar. There are two types of associates. Adhunik and Nitya Parikar. So Adhunik Parikar, recently added associates, Madhukant and Snigdhakant were actually Nalakovar and Madhuri. So since they saw Krishna, not many lifetimes were remaining for them. They went to Swarga, from there they went and because in the prayers to Bhagwan, they had said, we want to eternally glorify you. So they became Madhukanta and Snigdhakanta, the spiritual world. So this is called Samadhi Grant. So Sri Rupa Goswami also in Lalit Madhav, Vigat Madhav, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, I'm writing Rama, Ish Rama, Vigat Madhav, Lalit Madhav. So, speak some verses. And then Mahaprabhu personally used to register all the drafts. So these are not imaginations because when somebody imagines something, they usually end up making a mistake of rasa. One or the other mistake. In Samadhi, they will not make that mistake. You can get it checked from any Rasik Vidwan of the world. You will not find a single mistake in the rasam. That's the only proof that we people from the material world can have. That's the only proof we can have. Because unless we experience samadhi, it will be impossible for us to also know. But that samadhi is something to be experienced. And it is not a state of madness. It is actually a state of perfection in which smaran happens so spontaneously that one is able to remember what is going on in the spiritual world. My Guru Maharaj always used to say, in the material world, there is a facility like television for seeing things that are 10,000 kilometers away. Isn't it? When these foolish people of the world can invent such a facility, what do you think? There is no facility for watching what Bhagwan is doing. Obviously, there is a facility. That facility is called Samadhi. Actually, what is shown on the TV is imaginary. More or less, what is shown on the TV in TV serials is imaginary. But what is seen in Samadhi, Brihad Bhagavatamritam, Gopal Champu, these are called Samadhi.
What is what Samadhi Avastha? Maybe the eyes of open.
Of course, of course. Should I give you an example of Samadhi Srila Prabhupada gave? Srila Prabhupada Samadhi. There is an example of Samadhi by Srila Prabhupada in the book Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. In Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, the first chapter, Bob asks Brahmadesha Prabhu now, he asks, is Krishna attractive to rascals? Prabhupada says, oh yes, he was the greatest rascal also. Kali, devotees, and Gaudiya Vaishnava, they are very happy to speak like this to Krishna. Bob says, how is that? Prabhupada laughs and says, because he's always pleasing the gopis. Shamsundar were teasing, now the pastime begins. Yes, sometimes when Radharani would go out, Krishna would attack her, and when she would fall down, Krishna, don't torture me in this way. They would fall down, and Krishna would take the opportunity and kiss her. He laughs after that. So Radharani was very pleased. But superficially, Krishna was the greatest rascal. Like dear devotees, now try to find this pastime in the Bhagavatam. I'll give you any amount of Lakshmi that you want. Same question applies also to the Prabhupada. Where did you read this pastime? So obviously, it is an indication of samadhi. And I can take one step, little step, and say it is also an indication of the mood of Srila Prabhupada. One little step. So it is also an indication of the mood of Srila Prabhupada.
One last question.
Yeah.
So there is the predominant of word is private view that I'm having right. At the same time that you work with the club, you see people like let's say
So it might be.
so if you're ready to look like you are, and that's what we say. That's why I have the values for it. But if you can
At what age did Krishna get married to Sri Radha? It's a big question. Please, when he was in Vrindavan, when he was in Mathura, when he was in Dwarka, when did he get married? Vrindavan? In Vrindavan, he didn't even have his thread. Without a thread, he will get married. First in Mathura, when he went to Mathura, after killing Kamsa, was his thread ceremony. Do we think his parents will allow him to get married without having the sacred thread? Think about it. So then what is there at Bhandiva? Question still remains. What happened at Bhandiva? In the Gopal Champu, in the final chapter, Sri Goswami has described. When Krishna killed all the demons from Dwarka, he came back to Vrindavan. Then Sri Brahma arranged the marriage between the gopis and Sri Krishna. And there was the marriage of Sri Radha. It's described in the final chapter of Gopal Champu. There was the marriage of Sri Radha. At what age did Krishna come back? 125. What is Sri Krishna? 75, 85? All right. Maybe that had that age. And there was marriage. But all the pastimes happened before the marriage. What difference did it make? Oh, they were sanctified. So of course, it is a show marriage. I hope you are able to understand. Why? Because Sri Brahma does not want that people in the world in the future should legitimize such relationships. And therefore, in the Bhagavatam, even the name of Sri Radha is not there. So yes, they didn't speak her name directly. Because tomorrow, what will happen in the world outside, if a lady falls in love with somebody outside of her marriage, people will start calling her Radha, isn't it? Sri Radha's name will be spoiled. There goes, then you see that lady, she just like Radha. People will say, I hope you are able to understand. Let that not happen. Vyas Dev will her name in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Many reasons are given why he gave her name. But let's have the power. The real reason why he gave her name is because there is no name you can give. Society will never accept. So, the name in other Shastras, Gaudiya Shastra, her name is there. Vedic, in the four Vedas, and other Puranas are mentioning her name, but very sparse. And that too was mentioned by Sutta Goswami at Naimisharanya. I'm clear. Sutta Goswami at Naimisharanya took the courage and mentioned something. But when Shukdev Goswami did not speak it in the Bhagavatam, even Sutta Goswami did not muster up the courage to speak in the Bhagavatam. Yes, I hope that answers it. And that is all right. Then we should stop. Okay, Mataji is also have a question. Yes. Yeah. My locust feet, no, no. My locust feet.
My question is, when you mentioned there was something Thakur mentioned like, for example, Bhagavati Pannappan asking that is asking for you show that he mentioned like you can promote your camping on phone. That is what about your camping the whole and like
Why are we adding something to what he said? His words should be taken on face value. Those who are chanting Harinam for 15 or 20, that's all he said. He knows Harinam has that power that in 15 years it will bring you to that level of realization. So let's take it on face value. Mukhya Arth or Gauna Arth? Which Earth should we take? Mukhya Arth. The Mukhya Arth is those who have been putting their hands in the wheel bags for 15 or 20 years. So what is the question?
so what like because um, nobody manifest or very strong will. How can, according to theory of religion, according to Shastra, so some attraction is to make it there, but for the attraction to become very strong, so that one can really go very seriously, authentically, and then how can one develop genuine yoga?
How can one develop genuine yoga? No. That's the question. Yoga cannot be developed. It's not a product of a machine. Lobha appears when out in two circumstances. First, either Bhagwan directly gives, the rare circumstance. Second, a devotee who is already having prema. By their mercy, we get the proper attitude and the required lobha. So that is, there are two ways of getting it. There is no third way of getting it. If you could produce it in your heart by your own effort, then it will become a fully mundane endeavor. And then it has no meaning. It has no meaning. Is lobha something spiritual or material? Please tell. Our senses are, how can a movement of the material senses produce anything spiritual? That is a big question. It has to come from an existing spiritual source. And there are only two existing spiritual sources in this world. One is Bhagwan, Bhagwan's heart. One is the pure devotee's heart. You may spend decades wandering in wilderness, and you may not get it by your own effort. Therefore, it is required to approach your Guru. Is there a mridanga here in the family? Please bring a mridanga. Yeah. Shyam Kishore Prabhu, do you play mridanga? No, not at all. Please give the mridanga to Shyam Kishore Prabhu. Shyam Kishore Prabhu, with your ability, play the mridanga. Play. Play it to the best of your ability. See, first we only if you try hard for 10 years, you will get there. Here has learned mridanga from Guru. Let's do the mridanga. A very good demonstration of a very simple Prabhu. Babu. Whom did you learn mridanga from? Take the Prabhu. How do you get from here to here? Simple mridanga requires Guru. How can Loba come without Guru? You need a Guru. And if you want a confirmation about that, I will also show you a confirmation from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That is because my statement may have limited weight, but let Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur put his weight on that statement so that it will become very obvious what is being said. I had shown this slide in the presentation in Sadhu Sangha. So I'll pull out that slide from Sadhu Sangha and I will show in the please read.
Only after checking the natural inclination of sadhaka to the Guru are told to follow the particular path. Otherwise, when you currently individually prescribed path, will not persist.
Otherwise, if you do by self-determination, it may be incorrect or it may not persist. Please read ahead.
It is also incorrect to say that all sadhaka will be marginal.
Yeah, don't make an institution around materials. All right, let it be natural. Okay. Please read ahead.
Almost one gives you the ability of yourself to truly respect the sanctity of shelter and the people.
Last step.
Besides,
This is Dashamul Tattva, Dasham Pariksha. a very clear indication of the fact that prema comes from the heart of one devotee to the heart of another practice. It cannot be produced by a movement of the mechanical senses. Try as hard as you want. Unsettling fact, isn't it? But it is only in discomfort that we progress, never in comfort. It is only when we are faced with discomfort that progress begins. In a comfort bubble, there will be no progress. There is that person, how will I find them? How will I approach them? How will I serve them? How will I let the discomfort be? It is better to have uncomfortable truth rather than having a sweet lie. Because sitting on the assassin, we should not cheat the devotees who are listening to us. It is very important. If somebody still believes it can be produced by self-effort, wonderful. And we can try their best. Finally, who is going to win or lose? They are going to. I took my instruction from Tibet, something. I have my idea, it is from Tibet, something. Like if somebody still believes it can be produced by self-effort, let them try. If they win, they will win. If they lose, they lose. I have nothing against that. Anyhow, if anybody has a different understanding, wonderful. Let everybody be happy. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Let everybody try. No problem. But halena parichayato. You should get the result. You should get the result. If result is obtained, then the path was correct. No matter which path you took. Even if you made your own path. But if result is not obtained, even the bona fide path did not work for us. That is what it is. ठीक है? Okay. So we'll pause here. Very thankful once again. All the devotees here. Thank you. Shyam Kishore Prabhu. Thank you, Kadam Kant Prabhu. Thank you so much. All the wonderful performance. You go Kishore Prabhu. Thank you so much.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Guruji. Two things are here, every moment, everything. There's no way we can